This week in the NLP Master Coach Mentorship Program, Silvana asked a very important question about NLP coaching. This question is so important that I also need to share this video in Total Emotional Mastery. Now, the question is it a safe and professional practice to use NLP coaching methodologies alongside clients with medical issues such as Parkinson's disease, heart failure, kidney failure, and lung failure? Now, the answer is yes. The answer is always yes when the client has not been diagnosed with a psychiatric condition. If you're working with a client who has a physiological disorder, then as a complementary therapist, you are within your field of practice to be able to accelerate and help this person accelerate the healing process. Now, there's some great information here, and just remember this. NLP coaching is considered complementary therapy, and we work in parallel with the medical professionals, and we do this to accelerate the healing process. So there's a couple of moving parts here in Silvana's question, and I'd like to attend to the heart. Now, the emotion of anger directly impacts the heart. It increases the heart rate, and the hormone of adrenaline is excreted. We have to keep that in mind. With this new level of self-awareness through your coaching with the client, they will become more emotionally intelligent. Now, the kidneys, we've got to understand the kidneys. When a client accesses an emotional memory, the body is primed for an emergency and it prepares the fight or flee response. Now, under stress or anxiety, a nerve running from the brain to the adrenal glands, which sits atop of the kidneys, is triggered and it secretes hormones, which surge through the body, priming it for an emergency. This is phenomenal information. Now, you will now notice there's a connection between the heart and the emotions. Now, removing the emotion of anger, removing the emotion of fear can have a significant benefit to your client's recovery. Now, at Total Emotional Mastery in Sydney, Sandra, my mother, she shared her story of releasing them of her emotions and how it improved her health. She removed the emotions, but she also attended to the environment. Months later, she has 0 heart conditions, and she is also free from the medications that she was taking. So we have to keep all of this in mind as we're working with the client. Now, here's the danger. The danger for your client is if these emotions remain active in the body and they are not released, in the event of an emotional hijack, this is where the emotions take over the body, the heart, and write this down, can jump 10, 20, or even 30 beats per minute within a single heartbeat. You've seen this at our trainings, and you'll see it at Total Emotional Mastery when we use the heart rate variation monitor. Now, you've got to be able to neutralize the emotions with your client. And what happens, the heart will be in a much safer place. And the client will also avoid the tension that is placed on the heart. Now, the next part is regarding the lungs. And this is very, very important. You've got to remember that 80% of physiological disease has its origins in the person's psyche. This is where the mind makes the body sick. Now, we know this from research that 80% of disease is psychological in nature. They call it psychosomatic illness. This is where psyche, the mind, makes the body soma sick. Now, a recent study revealed people who experience chronic anxiety, long periods of sadness, and pessimism have twice the risk of disease. And these include asthma, arthritis, headaches, peptic ulcers, and heart disease. So the magnitude here makes emotions as toxic as the risk of smoking or even high cholesterol. So you have to remember that your training in NLP, in total emotional mastery, in timeline therapy, these methodologies is what the world needs now. So let me share some evidence with you. Regarding people with self-awareness, people with higher levels of self-awareness, and they only achieve this through NLP coaching, improves their emotional intelligence. The more NLP coaching techniques you use, the more self-aware the client becomes, and the higher levels of self-awareness that they'll have. And here's the direct link between self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and healing. People who are more emotionally aware during and after a operation tend to bleed less. They also have less complications and they recover faster. These are huge benefits. Now, you have to be sure that when your client comes to you, that they have not been diagnosed with a psychological disorder. If they have not, please begin working with them straight away and make sure you do your detailed personal histories. If the client has been diagnosed with a psychological disorder, your job is to speak directly with their psychologist or psychiatrist and ask them for a referral. And in that referral, it needs to say, I refer my patient to you, and make sure you get that in writing. If they're not willing to give it to in writing, then I would strongly advise that you do not work with the client. However, if they have no psychological disorder and they're coming to you to heal their body faster, then be sure to use your emotional intelligence techniques. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like and comment on this video and ask questions in reference to this.